Hey everyone, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2024 Jeep Wrangler, we're going to be showing you how to install the CURT Trailer Hitch receiver. Before we do that though, let's take a minute, check it out, and make sure it's going to be the right hitch for you. So for those of you that have a Jeep that didn't come equipped from the factory with the trailer hitch, this is going to be a good option for you and help you out when it comes to pulling a trailer around, using accessories, or even doing a little bit of both. This hitch is going to work with a lot of the different submodels of the Jeep, so regardless of what you got, you should be in pretty good shape, really with one exception, and that is if you happen to have the model with the EcoDiesel in it. If you have that, the hitch isn't going to be compatible, but the good news is there's another CURT hitch available that is compatible, as well as a draw tight, so you got a couple of choices as far as that goes. To compare the CURT hitch here to some of the other ones, I think this one's going to look pretty good. For the most part, going to blend in, and it's going to have a gloss black finish. I happen to have two more here on hand. So this one is the trailer hitch, almost identical to the CURT one, but honestly I think it looks a little bit better. It has a matte black finish, and I think it matches the bumper, looks a little more factory, but that's just my opinion. And then here we have the draw tight hitch, where this kind of falls somewhere in the middle, the semi-gloss. The collar design is a little bit different, which I'm not super crazy about. I think the eTrailer and the CURT ones just look a little more put together, but again, that's just my opinion. And one of the things with the CURT and eTrailer, the receiver tube is going to give you decent clearance, but the draw tight is going to come out a little bit further and have a little bit higher weight capacities. So if you're going to be using a folding style accessory, or you have a big spare tire on and you're going to need to use a hitch extender, this might be a better option for you because it'll be able to handle a little bit more tongue weight. This is going to have a 2" by 2" receiver tube opening, super common size, so a lot of different things will work with it. It's going to use a standard 5/8 pin and clip. Keep in mind though, one doesn't come included with the hitch. If you need one, not a huge deal, you grab it here at eTrailer. A lot of times too, if you end up buying a new accessory, they'll come with one, so pay attention to that. And it seems like it's pretty popular. A lot of people leave their accessories on all the time. And if that's something you plan on doing, might be worth checking out a locking style hitch pin just to keep everything secured. The safety chain openings are going to be a plate style and give us enough room to use just about any size hook that our trailer might have on it. We are going to get some decent weight capacities from this hitch. Maximum gross tongue weight rating is going to be 500 pounds. That's the amount of weight pushing down on the hitch. And with that rating, you should be able to use pretty much any size bike rack or cargo carrier that you'd want to, for example. And when it comes to the maximum gross trailer weight rating, that's going to be 5,000 pounds, or the amount of weight pulling on the hitch. That is the weight of your trailer plus anything that you might have enter on it. This can be used with the weight distribution system, which is a separate component. What happens whenever you use that, it's going to keep your Jeep and your trailer level whenever you're pulling it down the road. And that's a pretty popular upgrade on campers, enclosed trailers, things like that. However, even if you do use that weight distribution, the ratings are going to remain the same at 500 and 5,000. And with all that in mind, I do always like to suggest it's always a good idea just to grab your Jeep's owner's manual. That way you can check in there and make sure that your Wrangler can handle that much weight safely. We'll grab a couple measurements now, and these will help you figure out what type of accessories will work best. Keep in mind, these could vary depending on your particular Jeep. Being that it is popular to put lift kits on these and bigger tires, so on and so forth. Give you something to go off of though, our Jeep's completely stock, has a 245/75/17 size tire on it. If you go from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube opening, taking into account the lift that we're parked on, that's going to be about 18 inches. So plenty of ground clearance for those accessories. And if you plan on pulling a trailer, you can probably use a ball mount that has a slight drop in it. The Entry 2 work for most scenarios. If you go from the center of the hitch pin hole to the edge of the rear bumper, that's going to be about 3 inches. And from the pinhole to the edge of the tire, that's going to be about 9 inches. And you can use that to help figure out exactly if any of those folding style accessories you might have can be stored in that upright position without hitting the back of your Wrangler. If you do happen to find out that your accessory will interfere because of that clearance, nothing to worry about. There's a solution. You can always pick up a hitch extender, which plugs into the receiver tube and changes that connection point, bumps it out a little bit further to give you some more clearance. But other than that, at the end of the day, hitch you really can't go wrong with. Definitely get the job done and look good, and that kind of holds true across the board for any of the hitches available for the Jeep. As far as the installation goes, really straightforward. More or less, you just hold the hitch up, put your hardware through, and tighten everything down. So it shouldn't really give you too many issues. That said though, why don't we go ahead and get started on it now. To begin our installation, we're going to be working underneath the back of our Jeep, right here in this area, along this beam that runs from side to side. And each one of these Jeeps seem to be like they're set up a little bit different. In some cases, you might have some factory bolts and a little spacer plate that's installed right here. If you do, you can go ahead and get that removed. Refer to your instructions. In our case, we don't have that, so it's something we don't have to worry about. How this is going to work, our hitch is going to get put up in a position here around this beam. And the holes in the hitch will line up with our attachment points. And then you'll take the hardware. It's going to be the same for all the attachment points. You're going to have a bolt and a flat washer. And that will run through the hitch, through the beam, and out to the other side. We'll grab our hitch now and raise it into position. Line up the holes, and then take the hardware and feed it through each attachment point one at a time. Where the bolts pass through on that end, you can take a flange nut and get all those started hand tight. And once that is done, then we'll come back with a 19 millimeter or a 3/4 inch will work as well, and snug them all down. Now you want to make sure and come back with a torque wrench and tighten down all of the hardware to the amount specified in your instructions. Now that we have the hitch completely torqued down, we are good to go. And that will finish up our look at and our installation of the CURT Trailer Hitch Receiver on our 2024 Jeep Wrangler.